Hello, this is Marcel Fischbacher, county agent here in Moore County, and in a field up here north of Sunray, in a cotton field where we have a replicated variety trial, or a race demonstration as we call them, and we're looking at the progress on the plants here. As most of you know, we've had a lot of moisture, probably about 8 inches of rainfall since the 1st of May. So a lot of rainfall here in the field. We're seeing a lot of good vegetative growth. Also, as you look at the plant, you can look down here and you can see where a lot of blooms are getting ready to come from. You see all these that are called squares, a lot of squares here on the plant. And so really what we're seeing here, as you count this plant, as you go back and look at some of these plants where they have about 8 or 9 squares right now, that's where most of the value will come in the plant. The cotton plant, I don't know how many people knew this, but cotton is actually a perennial plant. And there's some cotton trees that are in Mexico or South America where it never freezes. But cotton is very susceptible to a freeze, and the freeze will end its life. Therefore, you want to do some things where a cotton plant thinks that its life's ending, because that's when it reproduces. The cotton is surrounded by the seed, and the cotton grows off of each seed in the bowl. And so I know this field today, some picks will be sprayed later on today, which picks is a plant growth inhibitors, and those plant growth inhibitors will make the plant feel like it's a little sick, and if it feels a little sick, it's going to want to reproduce seed because it wants to carry on for generations. So most of our farmers up here will spray it 2 or 3 times throughout the season or early in the season to keep that plant where it's really in a highly reproductive development. As the plant grows, you'll notice it'll have at each node it'll have a vegetative, and then the next one will be a fruiting branch. So this one's strictly vegetative. There's no fruit on here, and as it grows up, it keeps doing that. It's a very woody plant, which would actually, like I say, turn into a woody tree. One thing that we also are faced with is our number of heat units that it takes to make cotton. So you've got your growing season, and your growing season is basically from the very last freeze in the spring, but in cotton it would start on the day that the plant comes up. So if you plant it a little later, you have a few less growing degree days to develop it. Those growing degree units are very important to cotton. Last year we had a very early cool spell that got down to the upper 30s or 40s in September, and then we had very little growth past there, so we didn't have a very productive crop. 2 bells was about all it produced because of that. And we also had some decreased fiber quality issues. So the farmers are going to do a lot of things going forward to try to get as much sunlight to come down on that plant and get that leaves to absorb as much. You can see how some of the early leaves down here still show where there were some thrips damage. Last time we came out, there was quite a bit of thrips damage. The plant is outgrowing that now, and now it has these new leaves that are being able to be very efficient with photosynthesis and to nourish both the roots and the new growth in the plant. So now it's kind of a race to the end of the season. So basically, most of the farmers say they're hoping for a really good August and September. We're hopefully here in the next week or 2 we'll start seeing our first bloom in this field. So we like to see when that first bloom is, and then after that how much those blooms will go ahead from these squares. Next we'll have a bloom, then we'll have pollination, then we'll go forth and have a cotton plant. So we're wanting to produce that fiber from that cotton plant, and so we want that plant to do as much as it can. One thing too is you look across this field, probably with the cool weather, we also didn't have extreme winds. So as the plant came out of the ground, we really have a very good stand count in most of our plots across our area and most of the fields across Moore and Sherman County this year. So I guess as it is now, time will tell how many heat units we'll have and what kind of crop we will develop in our fields.